Hi guys, so we are back in the notes packet. So we finished that set of notes, the first page, and then this is what you should have annotated. It should be in your folder. And we are on the second page. And so again, this is just review, so we're going through this kind of quickly. The understanding is that you should already know this and have already done it in the past. So we're going to talk about slope-intercept form of a line. So this is when we are graphing lines, and we talk about slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is the form in which it looks like y equals mx plus b, where m is my slope, okay, and b is my y-intercept. The slope needs to be written as a fraction or a whole number. We don't really want that as a decimal number because when I'm talking about slope, we're talking about the rise and we're talking about the run. So if I have a decimal number, it's a lot more difficult to figure out the rise and the run. What does it mean to be a y-intercept? So intercept, if I were going to intercept a ball, it's where I take over. If I intercept the goal line, I run onto the goal line essentially, right? So a y-intercept is where it crosses, so where the line crosses, and so since it's a y-intercept, it'd be where it crosses the y-axis. So, and as a reminder real quick, we are talking about on a coordinate grid. So the horizontal line is your x, the vertical line is your y-axis because like the tail on the y goes up and down, the line or the y-axis goes up and down. Identify the slope and y-intercept in the following equation. So you just have to pull them out. So m is slope, b is my y-intercept. M would be 3, so I have a slope of 3. If I wanted to write that as a fraction, it would be 3 over 1. My y-intercept is at negative 5 here. You have to take the sign with it. Okay? I'm going to skip over to number 3. My slope and my y-intercept. My slope here is negative 7. My y-intercept is negative 4. Go ahead and pause me and try to figure out your y-intercept and your slope on each of these. When you're done, unpause me. Number 2, your slope is 3/4, and your y-intercept is at 1. Y equals line. So if I think about a coordinate grid here, say y equals, let's say it's not 0, but let's say it's like y equals 3. That is a horizontal line, okay? So I'm talking about y equals 0, so it is actually on the x line. It's kind of backwards of what you would think. So what is my y-intercept? Well, my y-intercept, or my b value, is actually 0 because it crosses the y-axis at 0. And my slope, so we kind of talked about this in the last set of notes about slope. If I have a horizontal line that is walking on the floor, there is no slope, or 0. Okay? This one, though, is an up and down line. So your y-intercept is infinite points. Infinite points. And that's only on this one because this line actually goes through the y line. It's a vertical line that goes through that. If it were x equals 3, it would be over here and there would actually be no intercept, no y-intercept. And we talked about the slope of this vertical line. Slope of a vertical line is called undefined. Here, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite this as y equals, it's a negative x. So there's an imaginary number there, okay? Imaginary number is negative 1x. And then we always do plus my b value. Well, there is no number over there, so that would be 0. Once I've rewritten it to actually show that there's numbers in those two spots, it's a lot easier for me to solve. My slope is negative 1. My b value is 0. Write the equation slope-intercept line form given the slope and y-intercept. So this is my slope, or my m. This is my y-intercept, or my b. So this is just y equals 3/8x plus 6. Go ahead and do 8, 9, and 10 on your own. So pause me, unpause me when you're done. So hopefully you've tried these. Number 8 is y equals negative 2x, because it's a negative 2 for slope, plus a negative 3, but normally you'll just see that as minus 3 instead of a plus negative 3. Number 9, y equals 0x minus 2. Well, 0 times anything means that it's 0, so it's not really there. So really what this means is just y equals negative 2. And then the last one here is y equals negative 1x plus 4. And again, a lot of times you'll just see that as y equals negative x plus 4. That 1 won't be there because it's implied. Okay, the next thing is I can put an equation. I can take the graph of a line and create an equation because I can find the y-intercept and I can find my slope. So we have m for my slope and b for my y-intercept. Typically, it's easier to find your y-intercept because it's just the number that crosses on the y-axis. So it would be the number that crosses right here. And I see that it crosses at this point. So that is point 4. So y-intercept is 4. Now, in order to find slope, I'm going to find another point on this line. So there's another point right here. And remember, just like we did yesterday, we're going to count up our rise and we're going to count over our run. So I go up 1, 2 for rise. And I go over 1 for run. So it's 2 over 1, which is just a slope of 2. So now I can write this. Y equals my slope, x, plus my y-intercept. All right, let's try the next one. There's a point right here. That's on the y-axis, so that's my b value. So 1, 2 is my b value. Always look also, guys, at what are my units going by. So each box in this one is going by 1. Each box over here was actually going by 2. It went 2, 4, 6. So if it were in the middle, it would be an odd number, right? My slope, I have a point there and I have a point here. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, and run 1. So that's a slope of 3. So y equals 3x plus 2. Hopefully this is all coming back to you guys. Okay, so now we're going backwards. They're giving us the equation, and we actually have to graph these guys. Okay? So, you're going to list out your slope and your y-intercept. This first one, my slope is negative, and there's no number there. So we said that earlier, so if there's no number there, that means an invisible 1, because there's an x. And my y-intercept is at 3, so it's a positive 3. So what you're going to do first is you're always going to put your y-intercept on first. My y-intercept is at 3. So up 1, 2, 3, there's a point, okay? My slope tells me go down 1, but I need a rise and a run. So we're going to turn whole numbers into fractions. So that's negative 1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Would you agree that a negative 1 over 1 is equal to a 1 over negative 1, right? So the other way I can think of this is I could go up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, okay? We're in the same line. What I always want you to have, though, to connect these, this is very important, is I want you to have some sort of straight edge. So I'm just grabbing, I have Post-it notes close. If you have a sheet of paper or binder, notebook, any of those. And the reason you want to do this is because you want the straightest possible line that you can get. The other thing that I find very, very important is that I actually want for you to extend the line throughout the entire graph. And this becomes really important when we start shading here shortly. Put arrows on the end. Okay? Let's try number 4 together, or 14, sorry. My slope here is 4, so that's 4 over 1 if you want to write it as a fraction. My y-intercept is 2, so I'm going to put a point at 2. My slope tells me go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Or 2 negatives make a positive, so I could also go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, backwards 1. And then I'm going to connect these. Extend throughout the entire graph and put arrows on the end because it's a line and line goes on forever. Pause me, try 15, 16 on your own, see how well you do. Unpause me when you're done, and let's check them. So what this means is x equals negative 3. So I'm going to go over here to x equals negative 3. What I'm trying to find is all the times when x is negative 3. So x is also negative 3 when my y is 5. X is also negative 3 when my y is negative 10. So I should start seeing that if it's an x equals line, it's actually going to be a vertical line at whatever number they're talking about. So I'm going to draw my vertical line in, and I'm going to put arrows on it. And that's my x equals negative 3 line. Last one Here my y-intercept is at 1, my slope is at -2/3. So I'm going to put my y-intercept at 1. My slope tells me -2/3, so down 2, forward 3, because it's a positive 3. The negative's only with the 2. Do it again, down 2 over 1, 2, 3. I always want for you to have at least 3 points, preferably more, but 3 points at least, not just 2. So I'm going to connect these two, or these 3 points, throughout the entire coordinate grid and put arrows on the end. So these next pages are slope intercept form. I want for you to go through, and these are worksheets, so I want you to circle the following: 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, and 21. So all the odds. So I'm going to go back to this page, and at the top I'm going to write down complete all odds. So I want for you to complete this worksheet and then do your Schoology assignment that goes along with this after you've done that. Okay. There will also be a Schoology assignment that goes with this, and I'm actually going to have you write in your answers into Schoology for these problems. Couple things. If it's asking for the slope, and let's say the slope is 3/4, that's exactly how you write it into Schoology. 3/4, no spaces. If it's a -3, you would type it into Schoology as -3. Don't put it over 1. Just leave it as -3. Let's say it's -3/4. That's how you want to type it into Schoology. Please do not put 3 over -4. Always put your negative sign in with the top or the numerator. Okay? So those are all slope. On 19 on, I want you to write the equation. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in y equals, let's say, -6x plus 2. No spaces. Negative always goes with the top number if it's a fraction. In this case, since it's 6, don't put 6 over 1. Just put 6. And make sure that there's no spaces when you enter that. Okay? That is all that I have for that one. And next we are going to do point slope form. And then that will be all for now. All right. Thanks, guys.